Hello everyone, welcome back to Analyst. In today's video, we are going to deal with arrays in C#. What is the arrays? Where should we use the array? How to create an array? So, arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separate variables for each value. To declare an array, first of all, define the variable type with a square bracket. So let me show you how to create the array. For example, we're going to create a string. Use string and the square bracket. You see? Then you can put here something like house. So this is how to declare the array. Variable data type, square bracket, and the variable. So we have now declared a variable that holds an array of a string. So to insert values to it, we can use an array literal place the values in a comma separate list inside the curly brace. So let me give you an example. We are going to insert values on this array house. We use a string for example, then house, then use this equal sign, then we are going to use a curly brace. Use this. We need something here like a but you don't need this. Let's delete this. Then here, what we need, after putting here semicolon, the only thing that we need, we are going to use array literal place with a value in a comma separate. So, for example, we can use here white house. You see? You can use the green house. You see, we are putting here a comma on the list. Then you can use the black house. Sorry, we have to put here double quotation. Let's move this inside of double quotation. Let's delete some and let's move this inside of so let's use this only. Now we can also create the array of integers. So to create the array of integers, we use this int as integer. Sorry. Int. Then inside let's use my num as a variable of integer, which is going to be equal to curly brace. Then you can use, for numbers, you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then semicolon. Now, after knowing how to declare or how to define the array, we are going to see how to access the element of an array. So you can access an array element by referring to the index number. Let me show you that. You're going to access the array element of house. So use a string but the only thing that we need is to use console dot right line, then a house, but we needed to specify the index. In the index, as you know, we start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. We then use this square brace. Let's put here 0. Then let's try to run the output. We will get this white house. Let's run our application. You see a white house. Because in the array we start with 0, 1, 2, we needed to access the element of house array of array. House as an variable house. If we put here 1, we'll get a greenhouse. Let's run and see. You see greenhouse. So now we can change the array element. So to change the value of specific element, we refer to the index. For example, let's write something like house. You see house with the, we are going to referring the index. If the index of 0 is going to be equal to, let's say for example, green house. You see? So now we are going, but let's use the red house. Red house, for example. Then let's put this also that right triangle. Instead of having white house, we are going to get red house. So it is a way of changing the array element. So we refer to the index number. Use this 0. So instead of getting white house, we are going to get red house. So let's see the output. Let's run. You see, instead of green house, we are getting red house. Let's see. We put here 1. Let's put here 0. Because we start with 0, 1, and we are on the array element of a house. We are going to put here 0 instead of 1. So let's run the application. You see, we have a ready house. This is how to change the array element. We can also find out the length of an array. So to find out how many elements an array has, we use a length property. So let me show you that. You see, we're going to find the length of house array. So we have it use house dot length. See guys, now let's run. We have a 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's put here black house. It's going to be for black and green house. It must be 2 double quotes. So when we learn, we have seen the length is a 3. 1, 2, 3. As you see, the output is a 3. Let's run again. We're going to get 4 because of this. You see, it is a 4. Ready house 4. So you can do this practice. So we have many ways of creating array in C#. If you're familiar with C#, you might have seen arrays created with a new keyword, and perhaps you have seen arrays with a specified size as well. In C#, there are different ways to create an array. So can you create an array of 4 elements and add values later, for example? Let me give you an example. We have this array of house. So let's remove this. No problem. So we are going to specify the 4 elements, and we add values later. We have string house, then we use this keyword new, then string. With square braces, we are going to specify 4, then semicolon. Now we are also going to show you another method of creating the array of 4 elements and add the value in the right away. We're going to use this, for example, string house. string house. This is also a way of creating array. Then use the new string for, then you can add the values right away. You see, we have added them. We can also create an array of 4 elements without specifying the size, but with this string. You can use something like string then house, which is going to be equal to new string this. Then we are not going to specify the element number or size. This is also acceptable. So we can also create an array of 4 elements with omitting the new keyword and without specifying the size, as we did before. So guys, this is how it works. Now, other things that you're going to deal with, we are going to deal with loops through arrays in a session. Loop through an array, you can loop through the array element with the for loop and use the length property to specify how many times the loop should run. I'm going to give you an example. Let's use a string. For example, let's use the cars, which is equal to, let's use BMW Volvo, and let's use for, and then Fuso. So after that, we are going to use for loop. So let's use for, sorry, let's use more writer for. You're going to use the integer I equals 0, then car, then I less than go cars dot dot length I plus plus. Then we're going to, this is for specifying how many times the loop should land. Then console.write line I, but you still need something here. then we are going to learn. You see, BMW, Volvo, Ford, and Fuso. Then you can use for each loop also. There is also for each loop, which is used to exclusively to loop through element in the array. So I'm going to give you an example. I'd use for each. Let's change this. The only thing that we're going to do is to use for each, then a string cars. Then what we need here, we need to add here car. For each string car, so we need it to, what we need now, we need to remove this. Now we can run our application. You see, BMW, Volvo, Ford, and Fuso. So if you wanted to compare for loop and for each loop, you will see that for each method is easier to write. It doesn't require a counter using length property, and it is more readable, as you'll see. Now what we need to deal with the next thing we are going to do is how to sort array in C#. So there are many array methods available. For example, we use a sort, which is sort array alphabetically or in ascending order. We are going to start with an example. Let's use let's delete this, no problem. So now what you're going to do, we are going to use this array dot sort cars. After that, what you're going to do, you're going to use for each string car in cars. Then console dot write line cars. This one, this variable. So let's run our application. You see, BMW, Ford, Fuso, and Volvo. You see the order has now changed by alphabetically. This B start, F come as a second, F also with a capital as a third, and Volvo at the last in alphabetically. Now what you're going to do, we are going to sort with numbers. To sort with the numbers, let's declare the integers. Then let's use my numbers. For example, let's use 6 2 9 8 1. Then put it here, semicolon. So now I'm going to use array dot sort this keyword for sorting. Then I'm going to use this one, my numbers. I'm going to put it here. Sorry, I'm going to copy it and put it here, my numbers. Then after that, what we do, I'm going to put something here. Then console.write but let's see, there's something that I forgot. Have it used for each. So after my numbers, what you need is to add for each, then int my numbers, let's delete this, then have it add something here, and use console.write line my number. Instead of B. So now let's run the application. You see, now it is sorted 1 2 6 8 9 numerically. It didn't start with 6 2 9 8 1. It is starting with 1 2 6 8 9. How it is sorted. So now you can try yourself. So for other methods which is useful in the array is when you use min, max, and the sum. So those are the function, and it can be found in a system.link namespace. So what you have to do is to add it in our namespaces. So to using system dot link. Then with the semicolon. Now let's delete this and show you the things where. What you're going to do, I'm going to declare, for example, my numbers again. Choose integer. Then my numbers. After that, let's use 10, 20, 60, 30, 15, This is an example. So after that, what you're going to do is to display. So we are going to return the largest value. Console dot write line. Then my numbers dot max as a function. So then let's run. The largest value used to display the largest value, use this maximum, this max. As you see, it returned the maximum value in the sequence of integer values. So let's run. You see now it returned 60, which is the largest number in this sequence. Now we are going to return the smallest number. Let's use console dot write line my numbers dot min. So to return the minimum value in the sequence of integer value. So the smallest number is 10. Let's see, it is going to display. You see 10 now. Now we are going to return the sum of all elements. Console dot write line dot, let's use my numbers dot sum. So it is going to return the summation, this sum. It will compute the sum of sequence of integer values. So it's going to return the sum of the values in the sequence. Let's run. You see, the sum is 135. The sum of this 60, 90, 60, 90, 105, 125, 135. So guys, you can try yourself. These are things. So now we're going to deal with a multidimensional array. What is a multidimensional array in a C#? So as I've seen in our previous chapter, you learned about arrays, which is also known single dimensional array. So these are great and something you will use a lot while programming in C#. However, if you wanted to store data as a tabular form, like table with the rows and columns, you need to get familiar with a multidimensional array. So multidimensional array is basically an array of arrays. Array can have any number of dimensions. The most common array, two-dimensional array, 2D. So two-dimensional arrays is what you're going to learn now. To create a two-dimensional array, so we add each array within its own set of curly braces and insert comma inside the square braces. Let me give you an example. Let's use again integer with these square braces, and you can use a comma here. As we said, in a 2D, we add each array within its own set of curly braces and insert a comma inside the square brackets. This is the square bracket, and you insert the here comma, and then you are going to use numbers, for example, so which is going to be equal to, let's use 2, 5, 7, and then put here comma. We add here also 3, 8, 3, 8, 10, for example. Then we put here semicolon. But what do you think it's an issue? What is the issue? The issue is we don't have this two. It must be inside the curly braces. So I have to put here curly braces. Then this element have to be inside of. We have to open here and close it here. Then we must have these two pairs. So now it's good to know the single comma specify the array is two-dimensional. A three-dimensional array would have two comma. So numbers is now an array with two arrays as its element. The first array element contains three elements, 2, 5, and 7, as you see, 2, 5, and 7. Then, while the second array element contains 3, 8, and 10. To visualize, think of the array as a table with the columns and the row. So, how to access the element of the two-dimensional array? So, to access an element of two-dimensional array, you must specify two indexes, one for the array and another one for the element inside that array. Better it within the table tabulation in mind, one for the row and another one for the column. So we are going to access this. Let me access it. Let's use console dot right line, then numbers. You see this variable numbers of our array. So here what we have to put here, we have to put here the square brackets, then we use the indexes. We're going to start with 0, then 2. Now you're going to learn and you will see the output. You have also to practice this. You see we have 7, which is here, 7. So the output have to be 7. So array indexes start with a 0 is the first element, 1 is the second element. So you have to expect that the output have to be this 7. So in this statement access the value of an element in the first row and the third column of the numbers array is what we are displaying. You can also change the element of two-dimensional array. You can change the value of an element. Let me give you an example. So let's use, for example, numbers. With the square braces, can use 0, 0, 0, sorry, 0, 0. Then it's gonna be equal to, let's say, for example, it's going to be, let's use 4. Let's use, we can use 5, no problem. So now let's use here 0 and see the output. You see, it is 5. It's already changed. So now this is what we call an array. Guys, in our next video, we are going to learn the methods in a session. So what is methods in a session? A method is a block of code which only runs when it is installed. You can pass data known as a parameter into a method. The methods are used to perform certain action, and they also known as a function. Why do we use method? To use the code, to define the code once, and to use it many times. So we are going to see how to create a method. So a method is defined with the name of method followed by parentheses. So C# provides some more predefined methods which have already been used in our previous video. So it means you are already familiar with such as, for example, this main methods, but you can also create your own method to perform certain actions. So I'm going to show you how can you create a method. So now this is where the code has to be executed. So we are going to declare, for example, I'm going to we have been using this main method. Let's try our own method. Let's use, for example, my method. For example, then we don't need to add these args in the string. So after that, let's try to line, for example, console.writeLine. Let's use parentheses and this. Let's use. We are going to use we're going to use a string. Let's say this is executed method. Then what we need now, we're going to add also again our main in order to run this application. So let's use static. So it is like this is how we call a method. So static void main, and then we are going to call my method. So let's use my method. So I'm calling this in our main method. So where the program starts for running. So this is the executed method. We are calling this method. So let's run. You see, this is the executed method. So what we did here, this is how we call the method in your void. If this is not available, the method is not going to be run. So we declare it here and we call it here. So output have to be this is executed method. So to call or to execute a method, we write the method name followed by two parentheses, which is this, then in semicolon action. This is how we call the method. So you have seen how to declare it here, a static void method as my method. It is a method name, and then the code to be executed, and you see it is in a class program. So this method, my method, is the name of method. Then this is static. It means that the method belongs to the program class and not an object of the program class. So you will learn more about object and how to access method through object later in this tutorial that we do. So this void, what it do, it means that this method does not have a return value. So you will learn about the return value later in our next videos. Now what you're going to do, if we try to call it many times, for example, I can write my method again. You can also do that again. Can you also do it again and again? So a method can be called multiple times. You see, we are calling it in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Let's run a program. So you see, it is executed in 5 times. So what you're going to do to see now is to know what is method parameter in a C#. So a parameters and arguments. So information can be passed to a method as a parameter. So a parameter acts as a variable inside the method. They are specified after the method name inside the parentheses. You can add as many parameters as you want, just to separate them with a comma. So in the example that you're going to see, the method will take a string called fname, for example. When the method equals to pass the first name, which is used inside the method to print the full name, for example. So we are going to do it. So this is my method. You see now my method, console.writeLine. but as you know, we are going to pass the parameter. So we have to put it here, and it is a string. String, then first name. Now, here, what we need is to declare, to put your first name as a parameter, plus, let's use plus. You're going to add another name here. Enriched. Let's use enriched. So now, as you know, this method is going to take a string called this name, first name, as a parameter. You see, first name, it is a parameter. Then when the method is called, we pass first name with the second name in order to make a full name. The second name is enriched, for example, or yeah, something like that. So then what you're going to do here in your main function method, we are going to add here, we are going to pass the value of this first name as a parameter. We're going to pass here, for example, matrix. It is matrix enriched, for example. We are going also to add, can use Bob enriched. They can use Brown, but it has to be in a Brown, double quotation. We need also to add here channel name enriched. Then you can add here Senkori enriched. So what you're going to get matrix enriched, Bob enriched, Brown enriched, channel name enriched, and Senkiri enriched. So let's run. You see, matrix enriched, Bob enriched, Brown enriched, channel enriched, Senkiri enriched. So in order to make it clear, we have to add here some space. So you see, now it is a separate names. You can also add here and add here a quote. For example, you see, matrix a quote, Bob a quote. Yeah, it's for writing a full name. We pass this as a parameter. Now, when the parameter is passed to the method, it is called an argument. So, from example, or from this example, first name is a parameter, while matrix, Bob, Brown, channel name, Senkiri are arguments. So, we are going to see multiple parameters. You can have as many parameters as you like. Just separate them with a comma. So you see, we have here string first name, and then you can also add another parameter with integer, int age, for example. Now we have a first name, and can use Let's use here is, for example, you're going also to add edge, this one, edge, as a parameter. So now what you're going to do, you're going to write, for example, here we can add something like matrix. Let's say it have 32, then Bob, let's say have 28, then Brown has 37, but you must put here a comma. Then let's say, as you know, we have to separate them with a comma, many parameters. Then here, let's give him channel 40 years, then security with a 29. So now we are going to learn our application. You see, matrix is 32, Bob is 28, and Brown is 37, channel name is 40, and the security is 29. So the only thing that we have to add here is in order to separate, you have to add here a space. You see now everything is fine. Matrix is 32, Brown is 28, security is 29. So guys, what you have to note that when you are working with multiple parameters, the method call must have the same number of an argument as their parameters, and the argument must not be passed in the same order. So now we are going to see what we call default parameter value. A default parameter value, you can also use a default parameter value by using the equal sign. If we call a method without argument, it is use the default value. Let me give you an example. We are still using this my method. Let's declare, for example, let's use, for example, string. As I said, you can use a default parameter value by using the equal sign. So let's use, for example, country equal let's say Rwanda. Then this console.write line, we have it to add here this parameter, country. So then what we need now is to call different country here. You're going to add here, for example, Norway. Let's add United States of America. Let's add here Iran. Let's add another country. Let's write China. And then it's called Nafi. You can see, but you can also call Uganda. So let's run this. We are going to get Norway, United States of America, Iran, China, and Uganda. It is the output that we have to expect. You see, Norway, United States of America, Iran, China, Rwanda, and Uganda. So Rwanda is coming because of this, where we didn't put anything. So the parameter, a parameter with a default value is often known as an optional from an example I gave you here. A country is the optional parameter, and Rwanda is the default value. If nothing we put here, Rwanda has to be a default value. Now guys, we are going to see how to return values in C#. So let's use static void my method, but we have to remove this void, which means it doesn't return a value. So let's remove this void and let's use integer for my method. Then we have to change something here. We're going to, for example, let's use int y for my method. It is static. Then what you're going to return, you're going to use this keyword, return 7 plus y. After that, you see static void, it can be string argument, but it is running. So we are going to return something. So to display the output, you're going to use console dot write line, then my method let's use my method, let's use 3 for example. So output is going to be equal to 5 plus this 3. It is going to be 7. Let's use 5. Let's use 10 for example. The output is going to be 10 plus this 3, which have to be 13. Let's see. You see, it is a 13. Can you try it yourself? So we are going to return the method of 2 parameters. So which it's going to return the summation of 2 parameters. We have first, we have in integer of x and y. Now we already have y, we are going to have x. int x. After that, what we have to return is x plus y. Then now my method is going to be, let's use 5 and 15. So we're going to return the summation of this, which is going to be equal to 20. You see, guys, you can also store the result in a variable. You see that we already have this y and x. Then return x plus y. Then we are going to store result in a variable. What you're going to do, we're going to declare a variable, let's use r, which is going to be equal to my method, then 15 and 5. Then console.writeLine r. So the output is also going to be 20. See 20. Let's put here 7. So it's going to be 22. You see, guys? So now we are going to deal with named argument. So in C#. It is also possible to send argument with a key, with a value of syntax. So now let's start with an example. Let's iterate this and let's use again void. So this is my method. Let's use here string child1, string child2, and then comma string child3. So now what we need is to display the output. So console.writeLine, and use the youngest child is, you see, plus I'm going to use the child2. Then what you're going to do is here, what you're going to do is to use my method. So now my method is going to be, as you know, we're going to use the key and the value. So let's use child2. Let's use child3. This is a key, then a value here. let's say is a Bob. Then charity 1 is Martha. Then charity 2 is the keyword. Charity 2 is Jacob. Then Puevriki. So now the youngest child is going to be Bob. No, it's going to be Jacob. You see, it is Jacob. So this is how we do a named argument. Now we are going to deal with method overloading. So with the overloading method, multiple methods can have the same name with different parameters. So let's work on it. Let's delete this first. This method is going to be, let's call it, let's change the name, let's call it add method, and let's declare integer of x and integer of y. After that, because we need to return a value, let's use int. Now what we need now, we are going to let's delete this first. Now what you're going to do is to return the addition of x plus y, semicolon. Now you see you're going to have this is the method of integers. We are also going to have this for integer. Wait. We're also going to have here, let's use static, let's use double, then add my method double, for example. Then you use double x and double y. You see we have when you see this, if you are looking well, we are having, as you know, we are dealing with a method overloading. We have a multiple method that have the same parameter, that have the same name with different parameters. You see, we have multiple method this, add my method int, add my method double. There are multiple methods because the two, they have the same name with different parameters. So but here it is the two methods that's going to use the same parameters but with different types. Now what you're going to do is here what you're going to do is to return x plus y. We have double as a double data types, and here we have integer data types. So now we are going to display the output. Let's iterate this. What you're going to do, let's use, for example, int my noun one, for example, equal add method int, then which is going to be 10 and 13. So we are going to use also double my num2 example, which is going to be equal add my method double, which is going to be, for example, double. It can have the small numbers 45.9 and 69.9. So now what we need, console.write line I now console.write line num2. So but here we need to know that for num1 is for integer. Let's use something like integer. Then here we have it use plus. Here let's add it is a double. You can have decimal numbers here. So now let's run our application. You see we have 115.8000 on double, and on integer we have 23. 10 plus 13 equal 23. Then 45.9 plus 69.9 is equal to 115.800001. So now, instead of defining two methods that should do the same thing, it's better to overload one. So you have seen now everything. Guys, in our next video, we'll learn about classes. Thank you for watching this. Hit subscribe if you like this video.